One of the most misunderstood things in music production is just the classification of synths, right? It's a weird word to say, especially when you add an S to the end of it. A lot of times when you think of a synth, you just think of some like crazy sprawling arpeggio effects like thing. But there's actually like a lot of utility to it that you can use in mostly analog sounds too. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use SynthGPT from Fader, and we're gonna add a utility type synth to make this new, really rock analog track kind of sound out, right? So I just got done doing this video for Fender, where I was kind of demoing a lot of their guitars with this original song, and it's kind of like a heavier guitar, bass, drums track. This is what it sounds like, just a little bit. So you can see that there's no digital, there's no synths, there's no plugins, there's really nothing on this except for a bunch of like 8 drum microphones, 2 guitars, and a bass, all right? Now what we're gonna do is we're going to help the bass guitar out. In fact, I can just solo the bass right here, and this is like the new Mustang bass. It sounds like this. So by design, it's a picked, just kind of loose, sloppy bass sound. But what the downside is, it doesn't have like a lot of low end energy as compared to like maybe other types of bass guitars or just like synth bass and stuff. In fact, if I actually bring up the EQ on it, you can tell there's a lot going on at 60 hertz, but this isn't really like a big, full, round sounding bass. It's a smaller, short scale Mustang bass. I think it sounds great, has a lot of character to it, but it needs a little bit of help. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Fader, and we're gonna go to SynthGPT and help us out, okay? So what I can do is I can describe a sound right on the website, or I can actually do this on mobile, right? You can do this on your phone or your iPad, and I'll just demonstrate how to do it on your iPad. It'd be like, I need a thick, with 2 C's, sounding bass synth that shakes your world. Okay? Very descriptive, I know. So basically what it does, now it's generating its own version of this, okay? Super quick look, it's already done, right? I can just have it here, and it's got something for me. Now, I want it to be a bass, so I'm gonna go down 2 octaves. And it's like, all right, this is just what you're hearing through like a very small iPad speaker, but I know that this is gonna be exactly what I need, okay? So like, all right, cool. Done with that, I've got my thick bass sound. What do I do now? I can actually go to the website. A couple different ways to do this. I can do this as a plugin, mobile, or on the web, right? So if I go to synthfader.com and then go to SynthGPT, and I go online, I can go to my sounds, and look, there's the last one that I just did. I need a thick sounding bass, blah, blah, blah. Now I can play the same thing on my keyboard here, connect to the computer, or it's like, all right, I already vetted that one. I'm just gonna download the sound, okay? So now I have that sound file done. Now I can go back into Logic, and what I do is I just go to my downloads, and it's just gonna download as a WAV file, right? So I just drag this into Logic, and then in the bottom left, if you go to here, if you just drag in the bottom left part of your session, you can go to Quick Sampler Optimize. And what that's gonna do is now this is gonna create an instrument of just that bass sound. Now I can play this on a MIDI keyboard. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this new sound, this new instrument that I've made just from prompting SynthGPT with, you know, just like a quick sentence, and we're going to add it to support the bass guitar, okay? So I'm just gonna play this in real quick. Let's see, what's the best way how do you even play this? Now, I'm gonna play it in, and again, I'm thinking of this as utility. I want the bass guitar to have the character. So even though the bass line is, I don't wanna actually have all the hits. I just wanna support the underlying notes, so. notes of what's happening behind it, and let's just record that in right now. So now you can see, I can clean this up and kind of quantize it. That was just a really quick run past. I want everything to be on the beat because I don't want the attack of that synth to really mess with the bass guitar. But even if I just kind of play it, look at all the extra low end energy compared to my bass guitar. Now, the next thing I can do is I can actually solo this and the bass at the same time and then be like, all right, well, how much are these frequencies kind of like colliding with each other? A great tool for this would be FabFilter's plugin, the Pro Q plugin right here. So I'll just do Pro Q3. They actually have Pro Q4 now, but I think I only have Pro Q3 on this computer. So we're just gonna open up both of these, right? I only have that other EQ on there just to kind of visualize it quicker, but these are just gonna be mono. So now I can kind of see side by side. And the cool thing about this is, so I've got on the left, I have my fader instrument, and on the right, I have my bass guitar. So it's cool because I have instances of both these open. I can actually look and see where they're conflicting, right? See, I have the bass EQ and the fader EQ on the same kind of visualizer here. It's like, all right, so there's like a little bit of mess I can clean up right here. So what I want to do is actually, because I want the character of the real instrument and the low end sub bass of the plugin instrument, I can actually remove a little bit of the EQ of the sub bass from the bass, and it'll actually give me a much cleaner sound. Also, just for this stuff, for the sub, I can just kind of put a filter on here to get rid of all the high end. I don't want any of it. I just want that low end. So let me clean this up real quick and let's see where we're at. So now let's hear everything together with a little bit of a guitar solo at the end, just to kind of see how they all fit. Visualizer that the entire track, and I haven't even really started mixing this yet, this is just the instruments, is pretty even. I'm getting a good full frequency response here. Another way to test this that's really interesting is a plugin called Gulfos. Again, Sound Theory makes this. Basically what it does is it just makes sure you have like a really good, it's almost like an auto mix tool where you can kind of like boost and tame frequencies. So right now, let's put this on. Kind of see here when I'm recovering frequencies, there's a little bit of high end missing, which actually, you know, if you look at the EQ visualization, and then what Gulfos is trying to do is try to balance everything. So if you look, if I play it again, see how Gulfos is being like, okay, maybe we can add a little bit of highs. Now, this would be another great example of if you wanted to use maybe a high-end synth, just something that kind of sits above everything. Fader would be perfect for that. Just do the exact same thing, but do it at a higher octave. I personally like the analog vibe of this, so I would much rather just add a little bit of high end to the existing stuff that I have to make it more of like a thicker analog type sound. But honestly, this track ended up sounding so good just from adding a little bit of sub bass from a SynthGPT generated instrument that took me 2 seconds to make. And I think it sounds pretty awesome. So anyways, just one more reason to use Fader for your day-to-day production stuff. A lot of it, like I said, I think synths get a bad rap in certain ways from just like a utilitarian standpoint. So I don't know, it could seem like maybe a boring type thing, but it is something that makes a big difference in the end result of whatever it is you're doing. So make sure to check out Fader's different tools and resources because there's a lot of stuff. And if you guys have any questions or maybe want me to walk you through anything else production-wise, I would love to help you out. So let me know in the comments what you want to see next, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.